Hi, hello. Welcome to Money Witch, the Money Witch video of the week. I want to talk a little bit today about just the question, how can we possibly think about and talk about business or work in the wake of all of the stress and trauma and trigger that is coming up as a result of the United States presidential, etc., and congressional election that happens this past week. So, I had been intending on creating a series of year end videos to help people who run small businesses think about what action steps they need to take for the rest of this year in order to be prepared and moving into 2017 Gregorian in a really stable position. And I'm going to continue to do that. It feels hard to do it. It feels superficial or not important or all those things. But I really actually do think it's important because you have to support yourself. You need money. You have to pay your bills. And our communities are going to need money more than ever. So these things cost money, right? Healthcare costs money. Emergency supplies cost money. Herbs cost money in some sort of way. Transportation, rent, legal support, offering housing to other people, all these things cost money. So we're going to need money to support our communities, and we're going to need resources of all kinds to be able to build our communities up to be less permeable from outside sources. So basically, I am going to put these videos forward and to just let you know that they are here for you when you are ready. There is no right time for that to be true. I am not telling you that now's the time you need to just snap out of it and talk about business. I'm just going to put them out there as resources for you when you're ready because we need to do two different things in this time, amongst other things, but we need to stay soft, right? And we need to stay sharp. So I'm here to help you stay sharp, stay grounded, stay focused, stay ready from a financial standpoint so that you are not on the edge or on the verge of crisis, and so that you can financially, and so that you can potentially offer support to other people who may end up in that position. Some of the things I've been doing lately in order to transition or just be with the energy that's coming up right now is really trying to protect my own energetic field and clear out my space so that it feels clear, protected, in present time, and that I basically feel like my spiritual hygiene, my energetic hygiene is up to date, right? So one thing that I did was clean off all my altars, and I did that just with a little bowl of warm water with sea salt. Sea salt is a huge tool for me for cleaning and clearing unwanted energies. I also personally, and this may help you, I collect a lot of energy in my hands. My hands are gonna run through to here to my heart, and so I've been soaking my hands in bowls of salt water. My teacher told me to do it every day, but if I couldn't, do it every week. So I'm trying to do that. Also, to protect your psychic center in the back of your neck here with oil. Dear friend recommended Tulsi oil would be protective, to clear with smoke, to clear your space, and also, your heart, your hands back here, around your head, anywhere that you fit your children, anywhere, your car, anywhere that needs it. So when I cleaned off my altars, basically I'm just moving all the little bits and pieces that I have arranged to represent my prayers at the time. And I'm saying I need to make sure that everything on my altar is about something that I'm praying for right now. So I need to reevaluate and make sure that my altar is serving as an external reminder of what's actually important to me in this time. So I'm moving all those things, I'm wiping all the dust off, all the stagnant energy that is clinging to them, and I'm moving them out of the way. I wipe down everything, all the little crystals, figurines, etc., and the space. I'm gonna first clear off all the little ash and etc., and then I'm wiping everything down with a bowl of warm water that has sea salt for protection and clearing, cinnamon for warmth and flow of energy, right? To keep that energy flowing. And then I also put some rose water in there. To me, roses are sweet and abundant. It's a big part of my abundance practice is to work with rose and also rose water. I pour it over my head in the shower. And also, roses are gonna be our like guiding flower in that we need to stay soft, we need to stay sharp, kind of bound energy. So, and then I remove all the plant matter, like old plant matter, off my altar, and I'm gonna burn it in a fire tomorrow, or maybe on Monday at the full moon. But yeah, so that's one thing that I've been doing to move some energy around. In Judaism, which is the religious path that I follow, religion being a sort of set of guidelines that are intended to bring you into a higher state of relationship with the spiritual. There is a very prescribed, specific practice around grieving. And I've been thinking a lot about it right now because of the way that we are all in this stage of collective grief. Different people, I'm not going to necessarily say we're all having the same experience, but it seems like a lot of people are having an experience of grief. So in Judaism, there are stages that kind of ripple out, stages of action, ritual behavior that ripple out from the origin event of loss, of grief, and you adhere to them in a very particular way. And when you get out, to the outer rim, this is when, you're really, I don't know, moving on, something like that. So the first inner step is called Shiva, sitting Shiva, and it's a 7-day period of really intense mourning. And it involves the people who are the closest to the grief not leaving the house at all for 7 days, that they should not have to go outside at all because they should not have to put on a public face at all, right? Or be any way that distracts them from their grieving. So that's something to think about in this time, that it's really appropriate to make space for your grief, to make a container for your grief so that there can be some resolution, closure, etc. moving forward, and that unresolved grief doesn't get pulled forward into all of your interactions, right? I was a long time ago in a workshop, and a teacher was saying, when people talk to you, like if you're in the grocery store and somebody brings up something that seems very like out of time, or like it's something that happened to them 5 years ago, 2 years ago, it's because they don't have closure on it, right? And they're coming to you, someone who's like essentially a stranger, because they haven't resolved it, they haven't grieved it. And grief has its rituals and it has its practices and procedures. But one thing I've been thinking about is what happens when the origin event of the grief is not one isolated thing, but happens many, many times. Or what if we're experiencing now is really an anxiety about the potential future of origin events of that will cause grief. In that case, this ripple out and then we get to move on is not as effective of a tool. But what can we learn from it? And basically, right now, I want to just really give people permission as much as you possibly can, as much as you're permitted, to take that space and really, have a like sitting Shiva type experience where you just stay inside, be with your grief, be with people who love you, eat food, pray, and just really nourish yourself. Because as a lot of people are saying, it's going to take a lot of strength going outward from this point. I notice, there's a lot of different responses to grief, and I have a sort of very Aries relationship to crisis, which is that I tend to just kind of get activated and be like, what do we need to do? Rather than really sitting in the grief. And maybe that happens for me in private moments or in over time. But for anyone else who relates to that, I think it also is completely appropriate in this time to just keep living life and keep doing the things you have to do. Those of us who are parents of young, especially of younger children, which I am, some people out there are too, that when something happens and it's a crisis, you still have to get up out of bed. You still have to make someone a sandwich. You still have to go to the park. You still have to laugh at jokes. You still have to be able to play. You still have to be able to be emotionally present and available. And I think in that, children are excellent spiritual teachers. So whichever one of those paths, or other path that works for you, please just do what feels right to you. If you need to be really internal with a lot of grief right now, 100%, that's an appropriate thing to do. If you are ready for action and you want to just go into action, then, I also want to provide you with some tools to like get your money organized, get your business organized so that that part of your life doesn't become more stressful, on top of all the other things that potentially are about to become very stressful, to kind of take the pressure off in at least one arena that can be high intensity. So the next couple videos I'm going to make are about strategic planning, year-end strategic planning, to close out and check in with your plans from this year and go forward with developing plans for 2017 for your business, and also about tax forms, 1099s especially, how to know if you need to file 1099s for other people, and how to do it and what the deadlines are, and getting your books cleaned up for the year end, in preparation for taxes, so that you can basically have your books together moving into January, or like that would be taking place in the first couple weeks of January, and you'll be able to wait for the rest of your tax forms to come and file in February. Thank you. I love you. I'm sending love out to anyone who needs it. And I think I feel like this is, it's an inadequate offering, but it's an offering. So I'm sending a lot of prayers and love out into everyone's hearts right now and holding a lot of people with me. Blessings.